Welcome in to Extreme Talk presented by Cornett Performance. I'm talking about Eli Cornett, former eight-man football player, former college athlete. Cornett Performance, of course, he offers one-on-one and group training, speed and agility training, football and track-focused training, and each athlete or client will have their own personal, customized program. It's for ages 10 and up, and he'll soon be offering online training sessions. You can DM him on Instagram at Cornett Performance, or you can shoot him an email, cornettperformance@gmail.com. Go ahead and book your free in-person or online 30-minute assessments a day. They do 45 or 60-minute sessions, and it's $30 a session or per athlete. So Cornett Performance, big shout-out. Appreciate the support, and love being able to support a former eight-man athlete and kind of give back to the community a little bit. But right now I want to bring in my co-host, Blake Biggs. Blake, quite the eventful weekend up in Gatlinburg. A lot of stuff happening, taking place, going on. We had the pep rally Friday night, which was a
Yep.
lot of fun, and then all the games yesterday. Which I kind of, let me go back to the pep rally real quick. I think I counted 7 out of 10 teams were there.
Yep.
And then 3 of them came in yesterday, and it's actually interesting. The teams that came in yesterday went 2-1. So I'm interested. I know. Well, and then you go back to last weekend. I think South Haven came in the day of, and I think everybody else was already there. So technically, teams that traveled in day of went 2-2? No. See the Heat. See the Heat. Okay.
He won their
So
game.
1-3.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
the Heat playing a first-year program, so you almost wonder if they play a little bit better team, does it fare a little differently? But I thought it was interesting to keep an eye on that in terms of, um, traveling in the day before as opposed to the day of, or maybe even 2 days before. I know it's a
hmm
little extra cost, but I thought it was interesting to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's I guess that's just one of the things of Gatlinburg is Black Bear Brawl and just going to Gatlinburg is, you know, it's supposed to be a neutral site game, meaning, both teams while they both travel, they're both it's not supposed to be any kind of advantage for either party. And by, just kind of making this decision, I understand, finances aren't there for everybody. And, not everybody can afford to, get a hotel for 13 other people because that is expensive.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like it's, man, coming off the road and, rubber tire to road and playing a game off of that is that it's tough.
You got
It's
just
tough, and Gatlinburg's not easy to get to. So,
then you got just enough time to get off the bus, maybe get a meal in, warm up. Maybe even not eat a meal early in the day, but get off the bus, warm up, get dressed. So it was interesting. It was
yeah.
interesting to keep an eye on. We'll touch base on that in a second. I do want to back up a little bit. We had some games happening on Thursday and Friday night. A lot of teams starting their schedule outside of Gatlinburg. Um, of course, JDA starting their schedule on Friday. Jefferson Davis Academy want to start in the SIFA down in South Carolina, South Carolina and Georgia. This game called early due to the weather, and several games got called early. They got canceled. I heard of a couple cancellations. But Pack Panthers, coming off the win in Gatlinburg last week, played JDA. I think they only played the first half, and Pack was up 38-8. So
Yeah.
big win for the Pack Panthers there. Um, and JDA a real powerhouse in ski, so a big win for them there. Let me see if they put any stats in for that game.
Did you
Um,
already cover the Orangeburg Coastal game?
no, did you find a
Okay.
score for that one?
I did not know.
I have not seen a score for it either.
Okay.
Um, Now, again, keep in mind this is just one half of football, but I do want to give a shout out to these young men. Pack's already put stats on Max Preps for that game. Gage Taylor, someone that we saw that we saw a lot of in Gatlinburg Friday night. 4 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. So he averaged 18 yards a carry, approximately. His longest, now that's skewed. His longest run was 48 yards, so it's a little off. Not a lot of running in that game, though. I think I'm counting 20 carry as a team, 20 carries for 196 yards. Taylor, Bennett, and Williams all had the touchdowns in that one. And then I'm guessing there's probably some defensive touchdowns in there as well. Let me see. Under touchdowns. Taylor, Bennett, McFarland had a touchdown. It says Gage Taylor had a interception return for a touchdown. So it's 5 total touchdowns scored in that one. Williams with a rushing touchdown, McFarland with receiving, Bennett with a passing, and then Gage Taylor had a rushing and an interception return for a touchdown. So big night for Pack. They moved to 2-0, defending champs, defending NHFA champs. So really starting their season off strong with a new coach and but mostly the same staff. So let's bounce over, Blake, to Louisiana. Quite a few blowout games there. You had 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Thursday rather, and then 1 on Saturday. All blowout games. But Blake, you want to run through the results of those?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I have it pulled up right here. So, okay, it looks like Acadiana Christian, they went on the road to First Baptist Christian School in Louisiana. Little Lion Eagle matchup. The Lions bounced back after their tough loss last week, 30-6. They take down the First Baptist Christian School Eagles, who previously defeated the Mount Olive Eagles. So a lot of Eagles down there in Louisiana in Tigerland.
Puts both teams at
Um,
1-1.
yeah, both teams at 1-1. Um, and let's see right here. So Freedom Life Academy. They played Swallow last week, Southwest Louisiana. It's their first home game in program history. Um, James, pull up their Max Preps real quick and see if you can pronounce where they're from.
I was just looking. You talking about Freedom?
Freedom Life
Yeah,
Academy.
I was
Do you
just
know how to
looking at
pronounce
that.
that?
I'm
Do you
gonna
know how
t-
to pronounce
I'm
that?
gonna take a shot at it. Natchitoches.
Natchitoches.
No way.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Natchitoches.
Yep.
That's not. Man, you Louisiana
It's
people.
Cajun.
Louisiana
It's
people.
Cajun.
I get. Yeah, I guess.
Hmm.
That's wild.
They don't have counties in Louisiana. Do you know that?
Parishes.
Parish. Yep,
I
parish.
don't know if you're looking at the box score for that one, but it was only 8-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then at halftime it was only 30-14. And it looks
Wow.
like Freedom Life pulled away in the third quarter with 3 touchdowns.
Yep,
No stats
absolutely.
up. No stats up at the box score there. But hey, JPG's 2-0.
Yeah. JPG's 2-0. Watch out. Yeah, so Freedom Life beat Mount Olive last night. So they fought Freedom. Freedom Life goes 1-1. Mount Olive goes 0-2. And JPG, like we said, 2-0. They played Acadiana last week, beat them by 20. And they played Mid-State Homeschool Thursday night, I believe, and beat them 46-0.
Mid-state
So
home,
absolute,
mid-state
yeah,
mid-state homeschool storm.
yeah. They beat the Storm last night, so to speak, and that was a beatdown for them. They went on the road and beat them in their first ever Mid-States home game. And Saturday, we saw a matchup between two teams very close to the New Orleans area, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think you're right.
Um, yeah, because Lake Charles ain't Lake Charles ain't that far.
No,
No, it's the other side. No, it's the other side of the boot. Yeah, they beat the North Shore Vultures out of New Orleans last night. Last night it was a Saturday night game. 56-6. Southwest Louisiana 2-0 on the year. So watch out. And they've only gave up 6 points all year to their 108
Yeah.
that they've scored. So watch out. Watch out for the Knights in Lake Charles.
Now here's what's interesting about that. So we'll talk about this later. So they got First Baptist Christian next week, which I don't think they'll struggle. But then they play Acadiana, who we'll see. They're 1-1, and then they play JP2. So there's a chance them and JP2 get to that game on September 5th, both 4-0.
Yeah.
That'll be a
Yes.
big one in ACEL
Yeah. And
down the
it would
road.
be September 4th, wouldn't it? Because it's Thursday.
No, it says the 5th. They do
Okay.
play some
Okay.
Friday. They spread it out. There's some on
Hmm.
Thursday, some on Friday, some on Saturday. Which
Yeah.
honestly, if I was a broadcaster in that area, that's a dream situation.
Oh yeah.
Because you
Hmm.
could you could just do a triple header. Now, granted, it'd be grueling, but you could do a triple header and um, get all those games. That'd
Yeah,
be
that'd
that'd
be
be
a long
nice.
week. Yeah, that'd be a long weekend for sure. Me personally, I'm a big fan of the way the ACEL is set up. They got it going on. Their week 1 starts August 8th, and they're done. Like their season is done. The championship is the 25th of October. So there's about between from championship week to Florida 2 weeks of rest.
I don't.
So I would love. Yep.
Well, I was just gonna say I would love I would love to see him down there.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them have ever been. I thought Acadiana was talking
Hmm.
about it last year. I would love to see one of their teams in Florida, either Acadiana,
Hmm.
Swalla, or JPG. I think Swalla would be the most likely, maybe being a homeschool team. They might have a
Hmm.
little more flexibility. Because they now Florida has had brick and mortars there, like Southern Prep, River Oaks,
Yeah.
but the majority of the teams going to Florida are homeschool teams. So it would be interesting to see somebody like SWLA
Hmm.
in Florida.
Yeah, and somebody like, some of these newer programs like, Freedom Life Academy, would love to see them, take a trip to Florida in their first year. I know they suffered a pretty bad loss last week to Southwest, but to be able to say, hey, like we do this thing where we go to Florida if we qualify, um, every fall, man, that gets kids out in the field. That's a great way to build a program. That's a selling point. Some of these kids, James.
Well, and I think it would give us a good bar too as to how good the ACL is because they don't really play
Yeah.
outside because of the number of teams. They don't really play out. They don't have to. They play a home and home, so they don't really play outside conference. So
No,
there's no real
no.
bar in terms of how good they are. I mean, they could go to Florida and get dog walked, or they could go to Florida and really show out, and everybody goes, "Hey, wait a minute, Louisiana." I mean, River Oak. We saw what River Oaks did last year. So one of these teams could go to Florida and absolutely ball out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And kind of being in Louisiana in that area, it's kind of hard to get games going, considering number one in Louisiana, there's not a lot of eight-man football down there. Number two, believe it or
Well,
not, the MA. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say outside of MAIS and ACEL.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So would love to see some teams from the Dirty Dell. No, that's Slidell. Excuse me. Teams from the boot come down to Florida.
Well, let's jump over to Alabama only because that's the next one I have on the scoreboard on the Max Preps app. By the way, if you don't have the Max Preps app, I would highly recommend getting it. They have a scoreboard feature where you can add the scoreboard for different. I mean, you can do by division, region, conference, just class 8-man for the state, and it puts all the 8-man teams in there. I'd highly recommend it. I enjoy doing it. Now, granted, it depends on people putting the scores in. Sometimes I'll put scores in if I know them. But it's a great tool. On Friday nights, usually I'm scrolling and kind of seeing who's live updating their games, who's put scores on there. So it's a good tool. But hopping over to Louisiana, we'll talk about the ACSC. Two teams played yesterday, but we'll get to that in a minute. Friday night, Hunter Wilson, first game back as head coach at Ezekiel. Ezekiel went to Georgia and played a little devil there. 44-28 win over Stewart County High School there in Georgia. So Hunter Wilson right back in the saddle, right back in the win column. Let's see. staying in Alabama, CFA Christian Football Association or ACAA, whatever you want to call them, CFA West maybe. 3 games Friday night, Blake. The Tabernacle went to Riverside Christian out of the SEC, and Riverside got the 34-6 win there. Cornerstone. Here's well. Let me talk about this other one. So Jacksonville Christian, Alabama School for the Deaf. They're not far from each other. Of course, Jacksonville Christian with Noah Lee, the Jacksonville State commit. Jacksonville Christian 54-24 over Alabama School for the Deaf. And then Blake, I don't know about you. I think we talked about it this morning. This one surprised me a little bit. Cornerstone and Trinity.
Yeah, yeah. Cornerstone's always been over the past. I wouldn't say always, but over the past
2 or 3 years at
past two,
least.
yeah, 2 3 years, they've been a really strong program. And if they get they're in a they're in a game that close with a Trinity. Yeah, I'll put it politely, with a Trinity program that really struggled last year. Um,
Over the last
really
several years,
quite
I would say.
yeah, really quite surprising that the score was that close, considering doesn't look like the two played each other before last year is what I'm seeing. No.
And,
Um,
and I'm
yeah,
looking at the box score. So end of the first quarter, Cornerstone was up 35-14. At halftime, it was 49-26. So pretty much over. A touchdown for each in the third quarter. And then I'm guessing Cornerstone may have started subbing, but Trinity 30 points scored in the fourth quarter. Cornerstone with a touchdown. And they made it a 3-point game. 100 and what is that? 127 points scored.
I don't know. I don't have my calculator right
60,
next to me,
65,
James.
65,
Yeah,
62. Yeah. So 120 and then yeah, 127. So
yeah.
pretty high scoring
Um,
game. I'll
I
tell you.
do want to correct myself. Cornerstone and Trinity, they played in 2022 at the start of the year, so around this time last year, and Cornerstone came away with the win, 48-0. So they still fall 0-2 on the series, but a little bit better this time around.
Shout out to both teams. They both have stats in max preps, and so I want to, with it being one of the closer games, want to give a shout out to a couple of maybe even some nominees for Player of the Week, Extreme Player of the Week. We will be naming the Week 1 Player of the Week, by the way, this week. Had to get some voting sorted out, and then we'll announce the Week 2 this week as well. But Colby Harrison, former All-American, I believe. 14 carries, 115 yards, and let's see if it has his touchdowns under the touchdown section. It does not have, so I'm not sure how many touchdowns. Obviously, more than likely, multiple touchdowns, like multiple touchdowns, with 115 yards. Longest run, 45 yards. Passing, it was kind of spread out. Couple guys with 20, 30 yards. Excuse me. And then on defense, Colby Harris. So Colby Harrison had 115 rush yards. Then he turned around and had 13 tackles with a tackle for loss and a sack and a pass defense from linebacker. So balling out for Cornerstone there, Blake. Colby Harrison, little coming out party for him, if you will. And then
Yeah, no, absolutely.
over on the Trinity side, um, their junior quarterback Jacob Peoples, 10 of 30, so not a great completion percentage. 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks for him. Um, and then he also had 11 carries for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he accounted for 4 of those Trinity touchdowns and 150 yards of offense, 140 yards, or 240 rather, 240 yards of offense. And then
Yeah,
spread the ball around a little bit. And then in terms of tackles, leading tackle would have been Finn Morris, 7 tackles for him. So sounds like it would have been a fun game to watch over there in Pelham, where Trinity plays their home games. But big shout out to all
yeah.
those young men balling out on
Hmm.
Friday night. That's one I would love to see the film on, just to see how that kind of played out, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, whoever's Cornerstone's coach is, please reach out to us because we both would love to watch that. And James, I feel like I speak on behalf of you on saying this, and then we'll move on because we got a lot of scores to cover. Um, man, that's all we that the stats are great. That's all we want. Thank you, Cornerstone and Trinity, for coordinating that.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. We're not responsible for recruiting or like stat keeping or anything. That's not our area. We just want to report the scores. So please, 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 if you are a coach, listen to this. Please report the scores when it happens.
We're just
It
a
makes our job a lot easier.
we're just a couple jabronis talking about it. That's all.
Well, you might be the jabroni.
That's
I don't know
fair.
about myself.
That's fair. That's fair. Jumping up to Tennessee, the Seek games happening on Friday. We talked about Riverside Tabernacle, Freedom Cowboys, big 48 nothing win over Lancaster Christian. Cowboys moved to 2-0 on the season. Chattanooga Patriots at Christian Community School. Chattanooga moves to 0-2 on the year. Christian Community starts off the season with a win, and then South Haven Christian at Tri Cities Christian. South Haven made back-to-back trips to East Tennessee. We know how last week went. This week, 40-26 against Tri Cities, and I know everybody looks at the score and says, "Oh, that's kind of close." I think there was some JV play involved there because the update I got, it was 34 nothing at halftime.
Yeah.
So a little bit of JV play involved there for South Haven, and um, not indicative of all at all of the quality of both teams because we saw South Haven last week against Pack, and it was definitely a high quality team. Hopping over to let's hop back to Mississippi. So MAIS has not started yet. Mid South Christian Football League has though, Blake, and
Hey,
um,
James, correction. MAIS has started actually, but
did they?
yeah, it's only two games.
That's right.
So
Yep.
I can cover that. I can cover that if you want me to. So,
Let's hit that.
um,
Let's hit that right
yeah,
after Mid South Christian Football League.
gotcha.
One game played over there. Blake, it's kind of surprising. The Upstarts, a big win over a team that helped start that conference. You there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, James.
Yeah, I was just
Sorry, I just.
no, you're good.
Hmm.
I was just saying. I mean, Magnolia helped start the conference, and
Hmm.
I do think it's interesting. New teams come in and get big wins. I mean, Southeastern Homeschool Warriors, 51-19 over Magnolia. So not sure what's going on with Magnolia, but Southeastern Homeschool kind of making a
Yeah,
little name for themselves there.
Southeastern. Not bad start to the year so far. As I pull it up right here, yeah, escaping. They escape Hattiesburg against the Pine Belt Spartans in a conference game, 20-16. The week before, and make a statement win over the Magnolia Wildcats out of I believe it's Terry, but it's kind of just the Madison Hines, Rankin area of
Right,
Jackson, Mississippi.
right. So Southeastern Warriors 2-0 in overall and 2-0 in conference play. So making a run at their playoffs.
Watch out.
Assuming in their conference you could, which I think you should be able to seek. First year teams can play in the playoffs. I don't know how many conferences are like that, but if first year teams can play in the playoffs, giving themselves a really good spot in those playoffs.
Yeah, no, they're making a very strong case, James.
So let's stay in Mississippi. We got two MAIS games. Blake, if you want to cover those real quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So last night, according to Max Preps, again, not really sure. We believe again we go off Max Preps, because we're only working off the information we have. Marvell Academy, they hosted Franklin Academy out of the Cougars out of Winsboro, Louisiana. Now I'm gonna see how long of a drive that is.
I think
So
that
Winsboro,
I think that game was Friday. By the way,
yeah,
I think it
it
was
was
Friday.
Friday. So Marvell, or excuse me, Winsboro, Louisiana to Marvell, 197 miles, three and a half
Mm,
hours.
mm.
Yeah, those MAIS schools do not play when it comes to travel.
No,
Um,
no, not at
yeah,
all.
final score, Marvell 40, um, Franklin Academy 6. and there was one more. Still kind of trying to figure out what their deal is. Central Holmes Christian out of Lexington, Mississippi. They played. Looks like they played some eight-man football. They played Ben's Ford at home, and Ben's Ford, Bogalusa, Louisiana. The Eagles beat Central Holmes out of Lexington, Mississippi, by a score of 50-21. So.
So you did a deep dive on that one. They don't even have that one on Max Preps.
Yeah, well, not really sure what the situation with Central Holmes is because it looks like they're in MAIS 3A, but they have a bunch of eight-man games on their schedule. So I don't know if it's a Hillcrest situation where in 2022 they wanted to play eight-man, but since MAIS is only, it's 2 years, it's alignments every 2 years, they just dropped out of it and went
That may
independent.
be it.
I'm not sure.
Hey,
I'm not sure.
that means we might get we could get. I mean, Hillcrest went to Florida. Be
Yeah.
interesting. Be interesting to get Central Holmes.
Yeah, I would love to see another Mississippi school in Florida.
You mentioned the Marvell Franklin game.
Hmm.
Marvell with stats on Max Preps. I'll shout it out real quick. Three guys with 100 rushing yards. Um, you had Patrick McCall with 12 tackles, 8 of those being solo, and a tackle for loss. He was their leading tackler. And then John Wilson with three. No, that's touchdowns. Well, three touchdowns for John Wilson. So Marvell, big win there. Central Holmes gets the win in Mississippi. Let's jump over. Let's see. We've not talked about Florida. Let's jump to Florida real quick. Blake had one game played on Thursday. Boca Raton Christian and Babcock 42-2. Boca Raton with the win there. I'll run through some of these blowouts real quick. Lake Mary Prep 73-0 over Charter Legacy Charter. I know some of these games were ended early. Merritt Island Christian 38-14 over Academy of the Lakes. Santa Fe Catholic 37-13 over Masters Academy. Tampa Slam 43-18 over Classical Academy of Sarasota. First Academy 41-18 over Lakeside Christian. Foundation Christian 44-14 over Geneva Classical, and Bradenton Christian 40-14 over Ocala. Closest game here for that I'm seeing, Blake, City of Life Christian and Liberty Christian Prep 25-19.
Yeah, James, if you could do me a solid and whenever you're off the phone with me, just send me those scores because I'm having some technical difficulties right now with
Nice.
with my computer. So just whenever you can, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Thank
got
you.
you. Well, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you can always get the Max Preps app.
Oh, that's right. I do have the Max Preps app,
Get the
James.
Max
Thank
Preps
you.
app. You could go to score. Yep, go to get the Max Preps app. Go to scores. I thought it said scoreboard, but
Uh-huh.
go to scores, and then you can click add scoreboard, and you select the sport football. You select the state. So like in this case, it'd be Florida, and then you could filter by like I instead of doing each individual double S double A, I just did class double S double A 8-man, and
Yep.
it's all of the 8-man games that happened this past. It's really great.
Yeah.
It's one of the better things Max Preps is doing. But City of Life Christian and Liberty Christian Prep. Real quick, I do want to run through the stats on this one. The box score, very interesting, Blake. Touchdown for each team except for Liberty Christian Prep in the second, and that was the difference in this one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
City of Life Christian, their quarterback with a 59% completion percentage, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Running game was a little bit lighter because they were airing it out quite a bit. And then they had J.R. Higgins, 4 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Their quarterback, by the way, Carter Campbell over at City of Life, the Warriors. And let me see tackles. Who was the leading tackler? That would have been Giuseppe Garrett. 12 tackles, 8 solo, 5 tackles for loss, three sacks. The stats keep going, Blake, but big win for City of Life to start off their season 1-0. They're in a tough division. Um, so big win for City of Life.
Yeah, James, gotta ask a question. You were kind of talking about it earlier. Um, are you paid or are we sponsored by Max Preps? Because what was that?
I listen. Real recognizes real, and when
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
true.
when there's a good thing going, you got to give it a shot. Plus, listen, shout out to in a
Yeah.
world and an environment where 8 man is a little undercovered. Max Preps is there, and they go, hey, listen, we don't care if you play 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 man, whatever. You could play 20 man. We got you. Okay, we got you. So 8 man, Max Prep, it's a great way to just keep up with 8 man football in general. Makes it to where whoever doesn't have any excuse. They're like, oh well, I don't know what the score is. Okay, well, get on Max Preps and pull it up. There you go. So,
Well,
Blake, let's jump up to North Carolina, and of course at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be joined by Coach T.C. Geyer. He's from David Emanuel Academy in Georgia, so we'll cover Georgia last. Um, but Blake, 2 games happening one game. I'm sorry, one game
yep.
happening in the NCISAA. Wayne Christian still labeled 8 man. They're 11 man. Um, but St. David's 19 to nothing win over
Mhm.
Life Christian Friday night in the NCISAA.
Yeah, pretty interesting tidbit about Live Christian. Looks like they're playing. I mean, I'm not really sure if they're being independent this year. Looks like they were formerly 11, or I don't know if it's like an alignment situation. I'd try to do some research on Virginia's website because they are out of Virginia. Um, I didn't know if it was like a Hillcrest situation where, alignments every 2 years and it was, an odd year and, they wanted to go out and play eight, but the alignment says no. So if anybody knows any information about Life Christian, we would love to cover them more.
Out of
But that,
Is that the one out of
yeah,
Chester?
yeah, they
Yeah.
are out of Virginia. I don't think they're VISA. I'm not sure.
Well,
So
they
they
might
play
still.
bunch of North Carolina teams. So
Right. Yeah. Like you said.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, all these. I feel like all these games are 8 man. I mean, they
yeah.
do play Hargrave. They do play Hargrave Military Academy, which was 11 man. Maybe both of them dropped. Maybe Hargrave and Life both dropped. But yeah, the rest of the games on their schedule are 8 man. Model Secondary, Lawrence, Cary, Fuqua,
Hmm.
Fuqua. Sorry. Actually, they play a home and home with Model, so that may have been the case. They may have had to go independent because they don't play, or quote unquote independent. They don't play any set region of games with their schedule.
Yeah.
So you may be right on
Little
that one.
interesting. Yeah, little interesting tidbit right there. Model Christian, or not Model Christian, excuse me. Model Secondary School for the Deaf, the Eagles, the only team out of Washington, D.C., James.
Yeah,
You didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the only 8 man.
Keystone Conference action. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh,
Based out. That one's based out of Pennsylvania, I think.
oh yeah. Hmm.
Um, Now, do you know? Do you know the only? This is completely off topic. Do you know the only deaf college in America that happens to come
Oh,
out of Washington D.C.?
is it American? Or am I? No, I do not.
Gallaudet University or Gallaudet College. Uh, TSD had a kid go play there, but it is a school. They actually partnered with what was the commercial they had a couple years ago with I think it was AT&T maybe, but they had some
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking
technology
about.
that they had some technology where the coach could hit the play on his iPad and it would show up on the visor of the quarterback, and then he could sign the play, and that way the coach wasn't trying to sign the play in and get the sign stolen. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not
Hmm.
like they're going to play Michigan, but still.
Yeah.
Uh, oh man,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
That
Equal
was good.
opportunity hate, equal opportunity hate, because I'm not on the Ohio
Uh,
State side either. Okay,
no, absolutely
but
not. But you better not be on that Ole Miss wagon either, okay?
oh, man,
I know
listen.
you bleed orange, but
Listen. There's only room in this world for one massive Ole Miss fan, and it's you. So,
Oh, hey James,
Yeah,
you gotta ask this.
go for
What's
it.
the difference between Ole Miss and mosquito?
I don't know.
When you kill the mosquito, it dies, but when you kill Ole Miss, it keeps sucking.
Oh man, sounds like a Vandy. Sounds like a Vandy joke.
Yep.
All right. I think the last conference that was playing games this weekend was in Georgia, GIAA. Had several games going on there. Let's see. Let's start with the blowouts. Uh, David Emmanuel Academy, like I said, we'll talk to Coach Geyer here in about 20 minutes. David Emmanuel 50-30 over Baker County High School. Westwood, well, that says forfeit. So Westwood with the forfeit win against John Hancock. And I guess with a situation of forfeit, you can put whatever score. They decided to put 30. So there you go. Georgia Christian 34-0 over Covenant Academy. Fullington Academy 56-8 over Crisp Academy. And Citizens Christian 44-6 win over Grace Christian. Best game of the weekend in the GIA, Blake, easily, in my opinion, Pinecrest and Holy Spirit Prep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pinecrest actually is it's kind of interesting because Georgia has sanctioned, I think it was this year, nine man. Nine
Uh,
man.
G,
So
yeah. So GAPPS Gaps sanctioned
mhm.
it last year. I think they were trying to get a version of football a little bit closer to 11 man, whatever the reason was. But there's several schools that stayed in gaps. Actually, GIAA really had a lot of growth because and it kind of simplified it too because you were like, okay, well, is this a gaps team or a GISA or GIA game? Um, but GIA had a lot of growth because Gaps made the move to 9, and several teams went with them, like Unity Christian out of Rome. And some of the teams were like, "Hey, we're good at 8. We're going to stay with 8." So they switched to Gisa or Gia, um, and kept playing 8 man in Gia. So Pinecrest, I believe, was one of those schools.
I like to call it Gia.
Gia, fair.
Yeah, that's just easier. That's
GIAA,
just a little bit easier for Gia.
GIAA,
You know the old Chia
DO double
commercial,
G.
the Chia. I just call it Gia.
There you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, Pinecrest 1-0 with a win over Holy Spirit Prep. Uh,
Oh,
Pretty typical. I'm sure it was a touchdown, 2 point touchdown, missed 2 point. Pretty typical 11 man score, 14-0. You don't see that score every day either. And again,
no,
that now
absolutely
now
not.
now
Yep.
granted, that game could have been affected by weather.
Hmm.
Maybe the same weather situation that was messing with some of the South Carolina games.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Did they have like a trop? What was up with that? Was there like tropical or was it heat?
I would say it's heat because I think
Yeah.
South Carolina teams. See, Florida, I know storms pop up randomly all the time. But I
Yeah.
think South
Hmm.
Carolina could have just been heat related. But
Yeah. No, and I mean, I saw at our game, like it literally took down some teams, right in front of us, the
yeah,
Heat.
oh yeah,
So all the coaches and all the players out there listening, man, hydrate. It's gonna be hot these next week. So
Vlasic
yeah,
is your best friend.
yeah, stay hydrated, trying to think, that's not what it's called. What's the name of it? Gatorade, Pedialyte, that's the name of it. Water, just stay hydrated.
My
If you're,
my choice, body armor, flash IV.
yeah, yeah, Gatorade and, you know, maybe a little bit of Fairlife Core Power, after the game.
Yep, you got to do some recovery there.
Yeah, yeah, got to do some recovery. So
Well, we have
stay
avoided.
hydrated.
Yeah, well, we have avoided talking about the 5 games. Well, 5 games yesterday, 4 of them being 8 man. But
Yeah,
before we have Coach Geyer on here, we got about 15 minutes. I want to run through these games, Blake, and you called the first one, and then or no, 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 no. You ran camera for
second
first one.
one.
You called the
Hmm.
second one, and then you were on camera for the third and fourth one. And I was helping with some producer roles and director roles. First game of the day. Faith Christian, East
Yeah,
Central. Faith Christian coming out of the NCISAA. East Central coming out of the ACSC, and these were 2 teams. Faith early exit from the playoffs last year. East Central lost in their championship game, but um, I think it was 8-6 at the half, and I was like, okay, we're in for a little bit of a slower game, and then it exploded to start the
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
second half. Like
Yeah, James. I was down working. I mean, you saw me. I
hustling.
was down working. Yeah, I was down working a fuel can for that game, and first half was relatively calm. It wasn't cool by any means, but it wasn't just hot. It felt like a typical, it felt like the coldest summer afternoon in Mississippi. At 89 degrees. But no humidity, no humidity. So when it didn't just bog on you, but yeah, it was pretty chill to start off at first, and then that second half hit, and it was literally a track meet. And I literally every 2 minutes, I was running from sideline, like from one 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 goal line to the other. It was man, it was a lot. It was a lot of action. Faith Christian really just they opened that can and just man, they just started that run game, that pass game just opened up, and they dominated that second half of the game. East Central did hold their own, but man, Faith Christian just kind of overpowered them, and with 17 players too. I mean, they're going to be a strong team out of the NCISAA.
I think Blade Hinton and Aiden Tyndall from Faith Christian probably the guys over there. Barrett Weems, Micah Smith on the East Central
Mhm.
side. Um, but if I remember correctly, I think they came out of halftime. Faith drove down and scored. East Central took the next kickoff back for a touchdown. Faith took the next touchdown back for a kickoff back for a touchdown. And then East Central fumbled on the drive. Faith went down and scored, and just kind of took over from there.
Yeah,
I
I
think I
don't
got that
remember.
sequence right.
Yeah, I don't remember much of the ball game because I was running from one end zone to the other. It was
Sound like
just to get
for
those shots, man. It was
sound like Forrest Gump. I was running, Janae.
I was running, Jenny.
See, you did it even better than I did. Um,
I may not be smart, but I know what love is.
I,
I know
I
what football is.
I'll tell you what, that was one of the funnest, most entertaining. What was it? 48-16 was the final, I think. Hang on, let's see.
Yeah,
47-18. 48
yeah,
18.
quote
That
unquote blowout,
that was
but it
a
didn't feel like one.
it didn't. It was a very entertaining
Yeah,
47-18. I mean, second so Faith Christian scored 4 touchdowns, got 4 extra. That's the thing too. Faith Christian on the day did not miss any 2-point conversions. They were a perfect 5 for
no,
5, and then the last touchdown they kicked the extra point. So they were a
yeah.
perfect 5 for 5 on 2-point conversions. And, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but that's 8 points. That's a touchdown. Um,
You said 5 for 5. That's 10.
yeah, 10. Okay. So it's a
Yeah, 10.
touchdown and 2 points.
Yeah,
Yeah. Math is off.
yeah,
Math is completely off. But I mean that's a big deal. That's a difference of 37-18, and then as you start scoring and getting those 2 points successful, or successfully converting, that even chips away, I would think, at a
yeah,
team, and just seeing them pull away even more. But it was a very entertaining 47-18 game.
yeah.
Uh,
No, absolutely. I would love to see more North Carolina teams, same conference as Faith, come out because man, I love those North Carolina teams and those helmets, James. Oh my gosh, they look so good. Faith Christian's helmets, dude. They look even better than the little helmet design I made in person.
better in real life.
Better in real life, yes.
So the second game yesterday, Augusta Eagles, Tennessee Tigers. Augusta time up in Gatlinburg. They lost last year to Tri Cities. Tigers first time in Gatlinburg. Augusta with the 35-20 win, and Augusta had kind of looking back at this game, Blake, I almost feel like Augusta. The difference was maybe 3 plays that Augusta made that all scored. And that
Yeah,
I feel like that was really different because other than that, Tigers were getting stops. They got a turnover on downs inside the 20, but they got stops. Augusta got stops. I mean, it was back and forth and back and forth. Um,
yeah.
but I feel like overall, it was a good it was a good game.
Yeah, so see, I feel what I saw Augusta was having like
Because
defense. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you remember, the Tiger, it was 35-14,
Yeah.
and then
hmm
the Tigers
At the
scored the.
half. Yep.
Well, no, at
Or
the no,
close to half.
at the end of the third quarter, it was 28.
Oh,
It
okay.
was 28-14 at the half, and then it was 35-14 at the end of the third quarter. And so kind of
Yeah.
out of reach a little bit. Tigers kept fighting though. You got to give it to them. They kept fighting, kept moving, didn't give up, and it was really cool to see a team keep fighting like that. Ethan Musser,
Yeah.
68% completion percentage, 243 yards, touchdown and a pick.
Uh,
Trying to see. He also had 71 rushing yards and a touchdown, and then you had Graham Russell, 5 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown. So really turning into a weapon there uh, for the
Yeah.
Tigers.
Yeah. So one thing I kind of noticed going in or watching that game for, I mean, on the Tiger side especially, is like, okay, for the first half, the offense, what contrary to what the score said, the offense was doing well. They were doing what they needed to do. And, the defense was a completely different story, you
Yeah,
know. And then, I mean, you said it yourself, 35-14 going into the end of the third quarter. And, it stayed that way. The Tigers played they came out and played great defense in the second half. I think it was two or three goal line stops
yeah.
for the Tigers. Um, they could have just rolled over and died right there, but no, like that Tigers team and Coach Cornett, Coach Adams, they really got a lot of fight in them. I would love to I really do think um them or Freedom or maybe even South Haven could play in Seek in the Seek championship. While on the other side, Augusta, man, they're they're good. They're gonna give Pack a run for their money. I feel like I
I
would
agree.
love to see. I'd love to see a rematch those two teams in the future.
Um, well, we'll see that September 26th, Augusta and Pack. That'll be that'll be one to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
It is at Pack, so they're gonna have to go on the road and get another big one. Got about 7 minutes left. We're gonna run through this real quick. Blake, you were filming the Tennessee Heat ASP game. Not a whole lot to go over.
yeah.
Uh, pretty
Well,
one
I
sided,
will say
38-6.
something. Yeah,
Go for it. Go for it.
yeah. I will say. Start of the game, ASP came out and just nearly returned. I mean, like seriously, a couple yards short, block in the back happened. I mean, they've outscored on that first play. And then the Heat was real bad that game. Like not the Heat team, but the Heat
Like the
itself, like the
temperature, yeah.
the temperature, it was real bad. And ASP, they just didn't have like a lot of guys. And when you don't have a lot of guys, you're playing, almost the entire game.
All
And
three
he,
ways.
yeah, all three ways. Tennessee Heat, they had fresh bodies going in and out. They took their time. And just ASP, I felt so bad. They had three or four kids over on the sideline with heat exhaustion, dehydration, just vomiting.
Yeah.
And eventually what happened was, it was 12-0 going into second quarter, lightning delay happened, which honestly was a little bit needed. Tennessee Heat put up, I think they got to 18 at half, and then from there, halftime happened. Good break. I'm like, okay, ASP's going to come out, punch him in the mouth. And that first snap, I saw them. They were just moving slow. So just one of those ASP's just got to. I know they're a newer program. They just got to build up. Man, they got those afternoon games in early August when it's hot outside
That's
are
brutal.
tough. I guarantee you, ASP, if they had like four, five, six, even like eight kids, that score is a lot closer
Yeah.
than what Max Preps tells us. So
Well, yeah.
Heat
So
though, they
Heat,
play good. They play
yeah,
good. So
yeah. Levi Ashburn definitely. Uh, I think he won MVP of that game too. So
he
uh,
did.
Ashburn absolutely bringing it, just laying it out for his team. The last one to get to before we get to Coach Geyer, um, really to me, I mean, we had the Pack South Haven game last year, and that kind of set the bar for best game of the year, right?
Hmm.
I almost feel like last night topped it
Yeah,
with
I mean that
Arundel
was
Parrott and
historic.
Evangel. I mean
Hmm.
that without watching some of these other close games we've talked about today, and maybe they are the bar for game of the week, but it would be hard pressed to make an argument against it. And I know
Yeah.
everyone's going to call us D1 Glazers, but it's just it was such a good ball game, Blake. You were running the camera
Yeah.
for it. I was
Hmm.
directing it, the broadcast side of it. By the way, shout out to everybody who watched the games yesterday. I think we're sitting at
Yeah.
like 5,000 total views so far. So big shout out to everybody. But Arundel Parrott, 26-24 win over Evangel Christian. Parrott ends the 39 game win streak that Evangel had in 8-man dating back to November of 2021. Now they had lost 11-man games, but not an 8-man game. And honestly, Blake, if you're Evangel, I think you look at this and go, hey, you know what? If the streak's going to be ended, let's just do it in a spectacular fashion.
Yeah, if I'm of Angel and I'm Coach Smith, I'm saying to my team, I'm like, it's over, it's done. Like, streaks done. That don't mean crap to me.
Let's
You
start
know,
it.
who
Let's
who
start it next
cares?
week.
It's over.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's start the new one. Come on, like we got another record to break. Come on, let's do it.
yeah.
So
Well, and just I don't my opinion. I don't think Evangel lost that game. I think Arendelle won it. They
yeah,
went out and
yeah,
won the ball game. Um,
they won that ball game. Yeah,
Stimson at quarterback, Barrett at receiver. I'm trying to remember the name of the running back. Hang on, I'm gonna pull up the roster because I want to give this running back a shout out real quick.
yeah. Why
Um,
you want to pull up that roster? I kind of want to point hit on a point we were talking about in the car is like, okay, for an 8-man game, that's extremely low. That's extremely low of a score.
on a
And
fifty-three
you're
and a
used to,
half.
yeah. And it's like you're used to seeing scores in 50s, 60s, in 8-man. And that just goes to show you the game of 8-man has got so much better because defensive that was a very defensive battle, but it had offense. It had huge plays. There was a couple big catches on both sides of the ball. Just the qual. I personally feel like the quality of 8-man across the country and especially across the southeast as a whole has gotten way better. James.
I agree. Braxton Lofton Myers was the running back for Arendelle.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yesterday between Faith and Arendelle, I think, and I was talking to a North Carolina coach earlier today, another coach that wasn't there. I think those two have really put North Carolina 8-man on the map.
On the map.
And
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
and listen, JP2 wasn't even there. Carey wasn't
Yeah.
there. Some of these powerhouse teams in North Carolina weren't there. And so I think it's definitely raised the bar in terms of, hey, listen, North Carolina's got some 8-man football.
Yeah. I
And
guarantee you put. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're good. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you put like a team like, I think Faith, don't quote me on this, I think Faith lost in the first round last year of the playoffs. Man, you put a
Second.
s- okay, second, first round of the playoffs. Man, you put a team like Faith in Florida, they're gonna make some noise.
Right. I was talking to Coach Beam
Yeah.
last night after the game.
Hmm.
I was like, man, I really wish that their playoffs and their championship lined up to be able to go to Florida, but I think their championship is the same week as Florida.
Yeah.
So, oh well. But anyways, but yeah, what a great weekend of football. If you haven't gotten a chance to go watch Arendelle and Evangel, go check it out on our YouTube channel. What a
That might have been
great
game of
ball
the
game.
year.
It set the bar. It has
Yeah,
definitely
it set the
set
bar.
the bar. So, well, let's go ahead and get our guests lined up. Um, from David Emmanuel Academy there in Georgia. And by the way, once again, we don't have a
Hello?
sponsor for our interviews, but joining me now is the head coach at David Emanuel Academy. The Eagles with their first win of the season this past Friday night against Baker County High School. Coach T.C. Geyer. Did I get that right, Geyer?
Yes, sir, James. That's
Hey,
perfect, man. That's
there,
perfect.
there we go, Coach Geyer. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on the show with us. And just to start off right off the bat, I want to give everybody that might not be familiar with you and David Emanuel a little, or DEA. Do you guys go by more David Emanuel or DEA?
We go by more DEA. DEA is the trademark logo we kind of use everywhere. Stack DEA logo, so it's DEA, and some people, when I first got hired here, they're like, DEA, you work for like the government or something? I said, no, it's a school, man. It's a school. We're good. So
Blake's a fan of the stack logos, but Coach, want to get you to give a little bit of background, maybe about yourself and your coaching career, and then if you could touch a little bit about DEA's history.
yes, sir.
In terms
Absolutely,
of football.
absolutely. So this is my second year here. I got hired in April of Lord 2023. That would have been, I assume. Excuse me. Would have coached the 24 season and this year 25 season. I'm originally from Western North Carolina. Played 11-man football. Did the student assistant thing at Marshall University for a couple of years. And ever since then, I've been bouncing around trying to find a place home and trying to climb the ladder a little bit. Spent a year in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 5 years up in Avery County, North Carolina, where met my mentor who I worked with for so long, Mac Bryan, and then also met my wonderful wife there.
There you go.
And that's it. Well, then we spent a year in Coffee County, Tennessee, and 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
We were in Coffee County with Doug Green for a year, and then went back with my mentor, Coach Bryan, at LFO High School in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and then we ended up down here.
There you go. There you go. Now, what about the school?
Yeah, I mean, David Emanuel is, it's of course, we are a private school down here in Emanuel County, Georgia. We're about an hour and a half from Savannah, roughly, about 30 minutes outside of Statesboro. You got Swainsboro that everybody knows about. You got Emanuel County Institute that everybody knows about. But we are a small K2 through 12 school. We got about 250 kids right now. And it's been here. This is year 56 going. And, I fell in love with it when I came down for the interview, just the close-knit, family-like atmosphere that is here. A lot of kids, their parents went here, their grandparents went here, cousins go here. We've got our senior class has about 16 kids. 7 of them play football. So we're not big, but the good thing is, and you hear a lot of talk around here. Well, y'all had 25 kids playing 8-man football. About 80% of the boys in high school are playing football.
Wow.
So it's sports are real big here. I mean, that's what drives us. That's what keeps us going. And down here in Georgia and the SEC blueprint, football is going to be your king. So.
25 on the roster this year. They're on Max Preps, and if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you took over in 23 or 24.
It was 24, so last
24.
Year.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yes, sir.
Max Preps had you listed starting in 24, but 23 didn't have a coach, so I was kind of curious about that. So I want to back up a little bit to last year. Obviously, maybe not the way that you were envisioning the year playing out. Of course, you had the close loss to Crisp and Vidalia Heritage, 34-12, kind of close. But, you made the playoffs. Trying to build a culture there at DEA, how big was it to get the wins that you were able to get to the first round of the playoffs? Obviously, you met a buzzsaw in Westminster, Augusta.
Yes, sir.
It's just they're a buzzsaw. Eventually, But how big was it building the culture there at DEA to make it to the playoffs and get to a point where you could say, hey, you know what, we've hit this goal. Let's set the next goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that was the first thing, coming in that we wanted to do because, I know DA's had success in the past. They were 2022 state champs down here in the GIAA. So had recent success, but coming in, me bringing what I had learned from all my different stops, from all the great coaches that I've worked for, worked under. It was definitely a change last year. Of course, me coming from 11 to 8-man, that's there's going to be some hiccups along that way, trying to trying to learn exactly how this game's played because it is a little different. It's a little faster. It's a little more wide open. And but last year the first win that was good to get under the belt. Chris Academy, we actually had our workhorse last year, Clayton Hood, who's now at the University of Georgia playing ball. Went out early with a hamstring, and it kind of, first year head coach, it kind of shook me a little bit. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you that, your star guy goes out early in the game, and it's one of those things. I had to step up, and I failed to step up at that point, and the players feed off of me. So that's a mistake. That's a learning thing. That's something that we gotta learn from, move on from. But the big thing was I wanted guys to work. I wanted guys to work, and I never want anybody to outwork us, whether it's in the weight room, in the classroom, in the community, at our jobs, or on the football field. And so, and before me, they had not really done a whole lot in the summer. And we came in year one and had a little pushback because I go 4 days a week, 8 to 12 in the summer. We have a camp week where we're here 8 to 5 right before the season kicks off. So that was a learning curve for them. But having the success that we had last year, being able to get into the playoffs, even though, we did see, we saw the buzzsaw Westminster, Augusta, and all that they brought to the table. Having that success really helps this year. I got a couple guys out that didn't play last year.
Yeah.
We got a couple of them back. And our attendance this summer was amazing. I mean, guys showing up. We weren't having guys, hey, I slept late or I got a doctor appointment. The expectations were there. So, and again, I say all this, but it goes back to my staff. Coach Natavius Robinson, Coach Chad Starley, Coach Braxton Hopper, the AD here, Daniel Flowers, have all been super supportive, and they've, anything I've wanted as far as, how we're going to work, what we're going to do, they've been behind 100% backing it.
Well, and what's the phrase? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I mean,
Absolutely.
You got to start with the hard work in the first place. You took one of my. I'm gonna ask you about. I'm gonna ask you about David here in a sec, or I'm sorry, Clayton here in a second. But Blake, my co-host, has a question for you. Blake, a big fan. I messed up earlier and forgot to bring him in, and I was gonna give you a hard time, Blake. A big fan of the stacked logo. So. But I think Blake has a question for you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, Coach. First, absolutely. Gotta give props where it's due. Dude, love the interlocking logo, man. That's awesome. Y'all have a great logo, great colors too, great uniforms as well. It's funny because I was pulling up y'all's Max Preps and stumbled across y'all's highlights from y'all's game, and one thing I kind of noticed. Obviously, I'm a big obviously, one thing I noticed, obviously, I'm a big Mississippi State fan. Looks like from your offense, you are too. Love to spread it out. Love the four verts. A little bit of Mike Leach. Looks to be in your playbook, Coach.
Yes, sir.
What's inspired that? Just curious.
Well, again, I don't claim to be an offensive guru, but I got here last year and couldn't find an offensive guy, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna take over offensive play calling. And Coach Brian, again, I cut my teeth starting at the defensive line and worked back to the linebackers in the secondary and then defense coordinator eventually. But Coach Brian, he's an old App State lineman, and when I got with him, we were up in the mountains in North Carolina, and he said, hey, we're coming in and we're going 3-4 wide almost every play. I said, well, okay, this is different. We had a game up there where we ran 96 plays, I believe, in a high school football game, which is unheard of
Wow. Yeah.
for most people. And of course, me on the defense side of the ball at that point in time, I hated it because I'm like, you're killing my guys. I mean, they're out here running 96 plays, and they got to go defense, after a 3 and out or whatever. I hated it. But what I did is I took a lot of what he did, which is a lot of air raid concept stuff, and of course, huge Mike Leach fan. I read his book almost every summer. Just to refresh it. Love him to death.
Yeah.
And our offense, ideally, yes, I want to throw the ball. I want to pass the ball because I know down here we're going to see a lot of man coverage, and we've got things that can really make somebody run a man coverage, scratch their head. But in building this offense, I used a lot of stuff that gave me problems as a defense coordinator. A lot of formations. I always hated to scout a lot of formations. So we have 40 different formations that we can run.
Wow.
Wow.
20 plays out of. And
wow.
It's just different looks. It's last week we were in a lot of double tight wing. We may switch that up next week. It's just just depends on kind of what we're feeling, what's clicking that week, and what we do game plan wise.
Coach, I wanted to ask you. I said I was going to ask you about Clayton. Obviously, for those that don't know, those that don't keep up with Georgia 8-man, Clayton, a preferred walk-on there at University of Georgia, there with the Bulldogs, and that's got to be huge for not just the school. Obviously, it's really cool to get that, but the guys that were playing that are coming after him.
Absolutely.
To know that that's a possibility, and there's not a whole lot of 8-man. Excuse me, not a whole lot of 8-man guys that go D1. We've had a couple here in Tennessee. There's a couple in North Carolina, but for the guys coming after him, it's got to be a huge encouragement that, hey, you trust the process. You were talking about setting a culture of hard work. Trust the process. Do the right things. Keep the main thing, and it's going to pay off. That's got to be huge for them, and honestly for you being able to send a guy D1, it's a huge credit.
Absolutely, and even before Clayton, you go back another year, they had a running back, Billy Martin, whose brother is playing for me right now. Ended up at Mercer as a preferred walk-on. So
Wow,
in 2 years,
yeah.
This small school has produced 2 Division I football players, and that is huge not only for bringing new people into the school, that puts us on the map, but also for the guys that are here, because ever since we've been here, I've been preaching the same thing. Hey, if you do right in the classroom, you do right on the field, they're going to find you. I've got connections all over the place. They're going to find you, and I'm going to get you every opportunity that I can. And so just to have that happen last year, it's nice to selfishly stick a feather in my cap and say, man, I produced a D1 football player. But going above that, it's great. It's great just for the team. It's great for the school, and it's great for those guys to know that, hey, even though I'm down here playing 8-man, football's still football, and that's what I tell all my coaching buddies who are still coaching 11-man. It's still football, man. We still tackle. We still throw the ball. We still run the ball just like you do. I just got 3 less guys, so I got to be a little more creative.
See, Blake, Coach, I bleed orange, okay? I'm a Tennessee guy. I'm a Tennessee fan. But see, now I gotta watch a little bit of Georgia just to see if Clayton gets in. Now, when we play Georgia, I gotta be like, all right, listen, if Clayton's on the field, I'm gonna hope that he does well. Maybe he'll maybe he'll get started with a little bit of garbage time because Tennessee's whooping up on him, and then we can kind of ease into it, and he can become a stud. I'm good with that.
There you go.
Well, now I got to keep an eye on it, but
absolutely.
But looking forward to this year, Coach. You guys did not shy away from putting some of the good teams on your schedule. You've got Sherwood Christian, the defending champs. You've got the Augusta Eagles, who we saw yesterday in Gatlinburg. They're on a run. They're in the SIFA coming out of Augusta. Westwood, I believe, was a playoff team last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Westwood, Georgia Christian. So you guys did not shy away, and I know they're in your division or in your region, but
Yes,
having some of the really good teams like that, um, it, it seems like the having good competition, it helps you encourage your guys that, hey, listen, we can't take a day off, a rep off, a practice off. We cannot. We've got to bring it. Playing in a tough
absolutely.
region like that, I want to get you to talk a little bit about the importance of communicating that to your guys that we cannot take any time off because guess what? Guy down the street ain't taking time off either.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something we preach to them every day. I mean, even picking up Baker County, a public school, to come in that plays 8-man football down here to come in and play them, and we went to scrimmage Westminster Watkinsville 2 weeks ago, another playoff team.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's the region we are in. It is as wide as the state of Georgia, and it's very good football. I mean, week in and week out, we're constantly harping on, hey, you got to do your best, and you got to play every single practice, every single rep, like it is your last one, because you don't know, first of all, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and second of all, every week you got somebody that's coming in looking to beat you, because I mean what they have done before me and that we hope to continue is they have established themselves as David Emanuel has established itself as a good, solid football program, and people want to beat David Emanuel. And the good thing is last year, for the most part, we held our own at home, and it's hard to win down in Stillmore, Georgia, because we're down here away from everything. We got a single gas station, and we packed this place in. But the going on the road, having to play Augusta at the end of the year, that's another game. Memorial Day dropped out, and they contacted us, wanted to play. I said, let's book it right now. Let's get it on the schedule, just because I knew the type of caliber team that was. And that's only going to help us come playoff time. I mean, of course, our expectations are playoffs every year. And so in order to get in the playoffs, and then in order to make some noise in the playoffs, you got to see competition in the season. That's never something I'm going to shy away from. That's something I stand firm on. Is you get tested early in the season, and that does nothing but helps you out, because diamonds form under pressure, and I want to put as much pressure on these kids as possible.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a huge game to pick up right before the playoffs. Blake, I think you had a question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, just want to go back on that young man that you had earlier ago. I believe his name is Clayton
Clayton
Hood.
Hood, yeah.
Yeah, Clayton Hood, D1 guy, right?
Yes, sir.
He obviously he has God-given talent, and not to say he didn't work for some of that. Man, obviously, players they're trying to get better in on the field to go D1, right? Well, what makes him D1 outside of the football field, whether it's through the weight room, classroom, his relationship with God, just go in it. What makes Clayton Hood head and heels above everybody else?
Absolutely.
And I would add to that, what can other guys do to become a D1 guy in your
Yeah,
opinion?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of people. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, the big thing is, of course, and it's something we try to preach to them. I ended up at a D2 school, and thought I was going to walk on, and found out that D2's full of studs too.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of studs that are playing D3. I know plenty of studs that are playing NAIA. Yes, D1 is a great goal to reach, but we always try to preach to our guys, look, if you get an opportunity, it don't matter at what level it's at, go take it.
Absolutely.
But in order to get to that, not only that D1 level, but that college level, something Clayton always did. There were times last year where I had to tell him to stop lifting. I mean, last year he was the strongest guy in our program, well over 1,100 pounds on the squat, bench, and hang clean combined.
Oh goodness.
I mean, he had to stop lifting, and there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. The film study, the knowing what your opponent's going to do, and Clayton again, great young man, quiet young man. It was a, hey, Clayton, I need you to do this. Okay, yes, sir, kind of thing. And that goes a long way too. But I know just, any guys that are listening to play from my time as, at Mars Hill and, being involved in some of that recruiting stuff, a relationship with a coach goes a long way, and that's another thing I preach to my guys. You got to be active for yourself, because there's only so much I can do. That college coaches get thousands of emails daily, but you got to keep being active, and it may, just like Clayton, we thought, hey, well, we're gonna have to go D2 NAIA, and in the 12th hour, Georgia comes out and says, hey, we want you. You gotta have perseverance with it, and you gotta talk with guys and get your name out there, and because relationships matter, they do. Getting to know a college coach matters, and you may be talking to a NAIA coach and snub your nose up at him, and comes time for you to sign a NIL, and he ends up at a D1 school.
Yep.
It just that's the big part of it. But again, a lot of it's getting your name out there and getting your name out there the right way. And Twitter, for as bad as it is and all the crap on there now, it's a great tool for these high school athletes to utilize in order to send the film out, and contact these coaches and everything.
Coach, obviously I could ask you about guys like Richard and Saylor and Tucker, some of the leaders last year, coming in this year, obviously being leaders. And you could touch on them, absolutely. But I want to find out from you, who are some of the other guys that maybe during those off-season workouts you put in last year, or they're in training camp, kind of going into the season, who are some of those guys that have really stepped up to the next level and some of the leaders for DEA?
Absolutely. So first of all, I got to harp on a young man, Paxton Dixon. He last year we had him kind of running back, linebacker, and of course behind Clayton as he was, there wasn't much time he saw the field. This off season he worked tremendously hard. In the weight room he added weight on the right way, and was starting guard up until Monday when we moved him to center, and came in at center and had a lights out game. I mean, couple mistakes picking the ball up, kind of just little hiccups he had to do, but was able to hold his own against a large nose guard from Baker County, and blocked really well for us. Young guys, Hayden Powell and Ben Griner have stepped up, and they're two more of our slot back type guys that we kind of stick out in there, and just let them run crazy. And they're two guys that are headhunters. I mean, they will not shy away from contact at all, who've been working hard. We had a kid that moved in, mentioned his dad, Chad Starley. He was hired as our baseball coach, and his son Hudson Starley has moved in and really found a role for us at our X receiver, and will block, and just has the size and the speed and the hands to go up and get something. A senior who last year we were really unsure about where to put him. John Nathan Martin, again, has lived in the weight room this off season, and has found his role at our starting Y. And then Friday night, as much as I love to put the ball in the air, our running back, who again didn't start at running back until Monday, Revan Fortner, who last year again was a Swiss Army knife, rattled off, I think, 284 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns, and also picked up a touchdown through the air. Just out of the blue, just a speed guy who's worked hard and came along. And then we had we got a stud baseball player here who was kind of on the fence last year, bought in this year, and Brody Fleming, he ended up with, like 4.5 tackles for a loss Friday night, I believe, 9 quarterback pressures, just a complete dominant force at defensive end for us. And, those are just a couple guys, but all in all, these guys have been hungry this offseason. And, that comes back from the, little bit of disappointment we had last season, but they've been hungry. They've been working hard, deal with me in their ear in the weight room during school, and then out there in the summer heat since the middle of June. They've just been top to bottom, have been grinding and working hard, and their goal this year is a state championship, and hopefully we continue to grow and get there.
Coach, I want to give you a chance to call your shot here. Obviously, you guys have a full schedule this year, but let's just hypothetically say two situations. Either you guys end up having an open date this year and somebody else has an open date, or maybe you're putting your schedule together for next season. I want to give you a chance to call your shot. Is there anybody you look out over the world of 8-man and you go, I want to play these guys?
Honestly, I'll play anybody. You tell me when and where, who it is, put the ball down. If it's a cow pasture, we'll play anybody. Anybody that wants to play, we'll put them on the schedule. That's one thing I'm never going to shy away from. I'm never going to say we can't make that work. We will do what we can, and we'll if we got to travel to Timbuktu to play somebody, we'll travel to Timbuktu to play somebody. So if it's open, we'll get it worked out.
See, with that, I would listen, Blake, and I don't know about you, but of course we just came off the Black Bear Brawl yesterday and the Saturday before. Coach, you guys having your first game Friday night, so it seems like you're not a stranger to starting this weekend. Might be something where you come on up to Gatlinburg, maybe find a little North Carolina matchup.
Yes, sir.
Let's hey, listen, let's get that going, because I would love to see you guys next year and bring a little bit. Of course, we had Augusta here, and they really made a great name for Georgia 8-man, but Georgia football in general. But I'd love to see more Georgia in Gatlinburg. Just kind of see the quality of play that you guys bring. Let's get that going. I might have to shoot you the guy's number in charge, and kind of see.
And I will tell you, we did talk. I did talk with the guy who runs that.
Oh, with Caps,
I talked with him back in the spring, and I almost pulled the trigger on it, but we had a change of headmaster, and we kind of got decided that probably may not be the best thing to do with the new headmaster coming in. But that's something that's always, because again, that's 30 minutes from hometown right there, right outside of Asheville is where I grew up. So that's 30 minutes, 45 minutes from the hometown over the mountain. So, I would love to get up there. I would love to get up there and, bring these guys along. And because, one thing I know about, Eagle Nation and David Emanuel fans, they're going to travel, and they're going to travel well.
Blake, I got a matchup. DEA versus Cary Christian. Book it. August 2026.
That'd be a good one.
Or APA. Blake, I think you had a question for Coach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Looking ahead and, kind of tying into that, I'm sure you watched it, Coach. The Augusta Eagles, I actually covered their game this yesterday. Man, they blitz. They blitz hard. They'll send the house and the kitchen sink at you.
Absolutely.
They'll send the shed. Yeah, they'll send everybody. I know you love to pass. Like we were talking about it, Mike Leach, and I could see it from the film. And the Eagles, they love to blitz. How are you gonna combat that blitz, Coach?
Well, the good thing is I've been in this a minute, and I've still got a couple tricks up the sleeve that we can throw out there at them, without saying too much.
I was about to say, Blake, are you on the Augusta payroll? Are you trying to
no,
do a little trade secret,
no.
But
I'm trying to pick your brain.
Absolutely, no. Again, part of this job is there's got to be a lot of self-evaluation, and I knew last year our offensive line play was not what it should have been up to. So I spent this off season talking with guys, watching Glazier videos and, just studying. And, and our offensive line play, they have bought in and they have stepped their game up tremendously this year. So, when that time comes, we'll definitely, have some packages that, we haven't shown a lot to throw at them. And Richard Brady, the quarterback, he's a pretty elusive cat. I've also got a good stable of some pretty elusive backs. But again, that's during in October. Right now, we worried about that trip to Bainbridge on Friday. So.
Yeah, Coach, I will say, Tigers, not sure exactly what adjustments they made on offense, but and there are a few times in that game where they got, their quarterback had some time to throw, and with your passing playbook, the air raid, man, if you get some time, you'll light up that scoreboard. So that is something. That's a game I'm going to want to watch. So.
Coach, playing at Sherwood last year, I like to bring this up sometimes. Obviously Sherwood, the site of the movie Facing the Giants.
Oh yeah.
Is there any chance that we got that the guys got maybe a Grant Taylor type of speech there in that vicinity?
Well, they really didn't get a Grant Taylor type of speech. They got, they got their normal, hey, let's go out there and handle our business and play our game. Halftime, it was a different speech because of the score. I'm not going to get into too many details on that.
Yeah.
But
that's why I ask about the speech. You gotta get them fired up a little bit.
Absolutely. No, I tell you what, Sherwood, and Coach Easton over there, they run a top-notch program. I mean, and me and Coach Easton, have become close since meeting each other last year. And, no bad things to say about them or their program. It's a beautiful school, beautiful campus, beautiful setting with the big cross in the background. We actually, our photographer took a picture of one of our boys in front of it. It's an excellent picture.
Good deal.
But,
yeah.
Again, they do it right, and when you're playing them, when they're on the schedule, you gotta bring it. I mean, or you're gonna get ran over.
Well, Coach, I know y'all are prepping for Grace Christian. Blake, do you have another question, or are you good?
No, thank you, Coach.
Absolutely,
two questions for you.
All right.
Well, hang on. Okay, yeah. Okay. Real quick, I want to get you to talk about the support of the school and the home environment. Obviously, last year you guys had a 3-game homestand. This year, your home games are a little more spread out, but you do have Sherwood at home. Obviously, the Macon County win this past Friday night at home. So I want to get you to talk about the environment a little bit and the support that you guys have.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great home environment. I mean, we're talking, of course, just like any high school game, you got kids playing football in the end zone, the opposite end zone, you got some people seated around the corner. The stands right up on your tails. I mean, so you hear everything, whether it's good or bad, coming from it. Hopefully it's a lot more good this year. But the people here, they love sports and they love to see their kids play. And whether they're kids played 10 years ago or their kids are 10 years away from playing, they're gonna show up. They're gonna show out in the red and blue, and support the Eagles because again, it's such that tight knit community feel, family feel here. And just harping on that, on Friday night, we had a weather delay for 2 hours, and
Wow.
when we finally got on the field about 9:40, I looked up expecting to see a couple moms and dads, and we still had a full stadium sitting there ready to rock and roll.
That's awesome.
I mean, so the fans here, they're great. I mean, they have welcomed me and my family with open arms, and they're just great people who love their Eagles and love you even more when the Eagles win. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I lied. Blake. Actually, Blake lied. Blake does have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Coach.
Yeah, sorry, Coach. There's 3 things I'm really good at in life, and that's math and being a good liar. So
Hey,
yeah,
I'm with you there.
yeah, yeah,
Except
yeah,
that math part. You can keep that math. So
yeah, yeah. So gonna test your ball knowledge here. What's your opinion on candy corn?
candy corn, man.
Yeah.
Lordy. Yeah, take that stuff and dump, put it in the trash can immediately.
That's a good man
No,
right
I was
there.
just yeah, no, I don't know if you've seen the clip when Mike Leach is talking about candy corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, man, I completely hate candy corn.
Nah,
He just
nah.
goes on a tyrant about it for like 25 minutes. So
Absolutely.
I just,
Nah.
I just want to see
Can't
if
be
it's
having
safe or not.
that.
Well, sticking with the food theme, and then last question for Coach. I know you got to get ready, but sticking with the food theme, I like to ask coaches: are you more of a pregame or postgame meal kind of guy? And then, what's the meal of choice?
I am definitely more of a post game meal type of guy. The reason being is because I still get those butterflies before game, and I don't want to see that food again before the game.
There you go.
If you get, without getting too vivid into that. But yeah, absolutely, got to go post game, and if I have the choice, we hitting the Waffle House up. We're going with the
Yeah.
Texas Bacon Patty Melt, and get a large hash brown capped with some mushrooms on top of that, and a little bit of hot sauce, man.
There you go, a little awful waffle. It's interesting
That's
because some
it.
coaches are like, "Man, I got to get something in me and get going post game. I'm watching film." Some coaches are how you are. It's interesting to see the two sides of it.
Oh
But
yeah,
coach,
no,
well, coach,
no,
this was awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on, and man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do this season. Be keeping an eye on you.
absolutely, guys. Hey, I appreciate y'all having me on, and appreciate everything y'all are doing for the game, and especially for 8-man football, man.
Appreciate you, coach. We'll see you,
Yes, sir.
Coach T.C. Geyer from David Emmanuel Academy. They're in Georgia, and Blake. It went a little long, but it's such. Listen, a guy like that, I could talk to him all day
Oh yeah,
and just carry
absolutely.
on a conversation all day long.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I know the joke is, sponsored by Gatlinburg or whatever. I would love to see DEA in a matchup there in Gatlinburg. I feel like they, depending on how they do this year, which I think they'll fare fairly well, but I'd love to see them up there in Gatlinburg.
I would love to see a team like River Oaks out of the MAIS play. A
Ooh,
GIAA team like that. Yeah. Uh
bro.
huh. You see the vision? Do you see the
Yeah.
vision?
Either
Yeah.
either
Mhm.
either either someone like River Oaks or Cary. I'd go either way.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
interesting that they almost got a game book too
Yeah.
for Gatlinburg. We almost got DEA up there. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see them next year. Honestly.
Well, let's look ahead real fast. I know we're running
Yeah.
long on the show, but I want to look ahead real quick to the games coming up this weekend. Maybe touch on a couple real fast. So let's start in the AISA. Let's start in Alabama. So we've got a game Thursday night. Springwood School and Trinity Christian, first year program. Trinity Christian, um, both of them kicking off their season Thursday, and then on Friday, North River Christian taking on Escambia Academy, a long-time 11-man program there in the AISA. One of the three, I believe, to make the move to 8-man. So North River at Escambia, Macon East, a team that made a run. I believe they played for the championship last year against Cornerstone. They are on the road in Montgomery. They're in Montgomery, so a little crosstown rivalry there. But they're playing Evangel Christian Montgomery. I'm actually kind of curious now. Hang on. Let's see how far it is from Macon East. Macon East, Montgomery. Let's see. So they're in Cecil, and then Evangel Christian Montgomery. Do. Let's see. They are on 17 minutes from Macon East to Evangel Christian. So a little crosstown rivalry there. Snook Christian, one of the teams that made the move, they are at Cornerstone Christian, the three-time defending champ. I'm sorry, two-time. Well, no, it's three. I think it's three. I should know. We had Coach Lee on. Um, hang on. Now I don't want to misquote it. Let's see, Blake. Cornerstone, Columbiana. I'm see. I feel terrible now. Let's see. 22 schedule. They played in it 3 years in a row. Yeah, they played in it. No, they played in it 2 years in a row, and then lost in the playoffs in 22. Okay, that's what it was. So wasn't completely crazy. I thought they were 2 time. Just double checking. So anyway, so AISA. Nope. I'm wrong. Hang on. Nope, I'm completely off. I was looking at Thursday. Okay, let me start over. That's next week. We'll talk about that later. Evangel Christian Montgomery, they're at North River Christian. Escambia Academy at Snook Academy. So the two of the teams that made the move to 8-man from 11-man, they are kicking off their season against each other. Coosa Valley, they're at Springwood. Cornerstone Christian on the road at Southern Prep. And then Heritage Christian, first-year program, they are on the road at Macon East. So that's the correct schedule. Okay, got it. So 5 games in the AISA, all kicking their seasons, all 10 teams kicking off their seasons on Friday night. Let's stay in Alabama. Let's go to the ACSC. Friday night, 4 games. Hang on. Let's get Blake. Let's get Blake back in real quick. There he is. You're good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So I ran through the AISA. I actually looked at the wrong week. I corrected myself. Got 5 games in the AISA. In the ACSC, starting in Alabama. Lighthouse Homeschool, they're on the road at Riverside Christian. So Warriors kicking off their season against the Knights. Knights are 1-0. Southern Christian and Ezekiel Academy. Southern at Ezekiel, both 1-0 on the season. Southern off this past week, though, so coming off of a little bit of a break in gameplay. Tuscaloosa Christian, they're at East Central. East Central with the loss yesterday in Gatlinburg. Tuscaloosa starting off their season, coming out of the CFA. And then the Chattanooga Patriots out of the SEEC making the trip to Evangel. Chattanooga at 0-2 so far this season, on the road to Evangel. So the streak broken, let's try that again. The streak broken, Blake. Evangel now sitting at 0-0, technically,
Yeah.
man. To start a new streak. We'll see. Well, maybe the Patriots might be the first victim on a new winning streak, or hey, they might pull a little something. I don't know. Evangel looked good.
Yeah.
So that's the
God forbid they go on a different kind of streak.
yeah, I know. So that's the ACSC. Let's jump over to CFA real quick. One game happening Thursday. It's Clay County Christian at Pineview. I'm not sure if that's 6 or 8 because I know both of them were 6, and I think they're both playing around with 8 a little bit. But then 2 games on Friday. Tuscaloosa Christian talked about at East Central, and then the ASP Americans played Tennessee Heat yesterday. They're at Russell Christian. So Tuscaloosa to Meridian, little what is that? About an hour road trip somewhere in there, just about.
Just about, maybe 2.
Yeah. So ASP at Russell Christian. ASP on the road quite a bit. Blake, let's jump up to Tennessee real quick. Let's talk about the seat games coming up this Friday night. You there?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to talk about it or.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, yeah.
Why don't you run through the seat? We covered
Yeah.
Lighthouse, Riverside, Chattanooga, Evangel, some of the
Mhm.
cross-state games, but a couple other in-conference games being played.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it looks like Tri Cities is uh falling tough loss for South Haven. They'll be on the road facing Lancaster and Smyrna. Um, correct me if I'm wrong, they still play at Smyrna Middle School
They do.
for
They
their
do.
home
And,
games. Yep.
and it's interesting. Tri-Cities losing to South Haven Friday night. Lancaster lost to Freedom. And then, so Tri-Cities and Lancaster play each other. And then the winners are playing each other.
Mm. Yeah, so a little, almost
Freedom,
like an in-season tournament there.
a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah. You said it. Freedom and South Haven, they play each other. Um, and yeah, I mean that's it. Tennessee Tigers, they got a bye. Oh no, I'm forgetting one. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Blue Bonnet Bowl. That's what it's called, right?
The Black and Blue Bowl.
Black and blue.
Blue
I'm
Bonnet.
sorry.
I'm going to
I
start
don't know.
calling it the Blue Bonnet Bowl.
I don't know why I called it the bonnet. Sorry.
I love
Whoopsies.
that. I love that.
The blue bonnet. Whoops. Yeah. So hate traveling to White House, and CCS, squeaked out a win against a winless Chattanooga Patriots team. Now, that's not to say, Patriots not bad themselves. 8-point win over the Patriots CCS had, and does the Heat rolling off the win in Gatlinburg 38-6 after a tough loss to that's going to be a real gut check right there for both teams. See where they test their manhood this
Uh,
season.
big playoff implications in that one
Yeah.
too. With between the Heat and Christian Community, both in the North Division. Um, the Heat with the with, so well no well yeah so big implications there. Winner one step closer to first round home game, maybe a first round bye. We'll have to see. But those games. By the way, Max Preps, or whoever's with these schools, if we could get Franklin Christian, Grace Baptist, and who's the other one? There's another former
I believe it's
Zion.
Zion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we could get them off of Tennessee A-Man on Max Preps, that would be great. You know what? Let's keep tradition of bouncing around. Let's go up to Virginia, Blake. Five games. Yeah, 5 games
Yeah.
this
Believe
weekend.
they open. Believe that. Yeah, that's their season. They open their season. Yeah.
Yeah, so Chincoteague and Fuqua starting their season off Friday night. Southampton Academy and Blessed Sacrament Huguenot. Greenbrier Christian at Rappahannock County, and Brunswick Academy, they are at Columbia. And then on Saturday, you've got Kinston Forest at Broadwater Academy. So big weekend there in Virginia. Everybody getting kicked off, getting their seasons kicked off. Blake, let's bounce over to the ACEL there in Louisiana. You want to run through the games happening? I think they've got games on Friday and Saturday this week.
Oh yeah. Hang on. Still kind of pulling it up.
You're good.
Real quick. See if I can pull this up. Uh, so class. So collect. It's 8 man.
There should be a
Um.
section for
Yeah.
Christian educators of Louisiana.
Yeah. So one thing I will point out, Northeast Baptist, they're an independent team out of Louisiana. They play their first game.
Oh yeah, I did miss that.
They
Yeah,
play Texas.
there you go.
I am only seeing, hang on, no, there's Saturday games. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Mount Olive, 0-2, they travel to Acadiana Christian. That is on Friday, the 22nd. John Paul and North Shore, they play. That's a game that game will be taken in New Orleans. John Paul traveling to North Shore. First Baptist Christian, they get a test in Southwest Louisiana, the Knights. Um, yeah, so that's all I am seeing for the ACEL. Now, for whatever reason, Mid-State, they're not on Max Press for whatever reason. I don't understand.
I don't sense any bangers this weekend out of the ACEL, but who knows? Who knows?
First Baptist Christian and Southwest might be close.
We'll talk about North Carolina 8-man here in a second, but I do want to touch on where I just had it. Georgia, the GIAA. We just talked to Coach Geyer or Gia. So you've got several games happening on Friday night. Cross conference game. Pack Panthers are on the road at Holy Spirit Prep. You've got Georgia School for Innovations in the Classics, GSIC. They're 1-0, and they are at Westminster Schools of Augusta, who are kicking their season off. Not defending runner-ups. That's kind of the runner-ups last year in GIA. Augusta Eagles. They're at Westminster Christian. They're in Watkinsville. John Hancock at Folington. Georgia Christian at Citizens Christian. Both those teams 1-0 in the season. Vidalia Heritage at Sherwood Christian. They are the defending champs. Covenant Academy and at Crisp Academy, both teams 0-1, looking for their first win of the year. And then, of course, DEA, David Emanuel at Grace Christian. Grace Christian 0-1 on the season so far, coming off that loss to Citizens Christian. Big loss for them, too, so a huge chance for DEA to go 2-0. But let's jump to North Carolina. Blake, you got those North Carolina games lined up?
Here shortly. Sorry, I had no idea we were jumping to North Carolina so quick. Skip South Carolina, James.
We'll get down to South Carolina.
Okay,
We're bouncing
okay.
around. We're bouncing
Yeah,
around.
bouncing around. Okay. Yeah, one
Keep them on their
second.
toes. Keep them on their toes.
Yeah, keep them on their toes. All right.
I'll
You're
give you.
going to you're going from states by the best rivalries, right? That's why you're leaving Mississippi.
Sort of. Yeah.
That's why you're leaving Mississippi last, right?
Well, yeah, something like that.
Don't get me started on that.
I'll give you the first matchup, and this is a huge one.
Yeah.
Arundel Parrott. So coming off that game against Evangel
Mhm.
last night, they now have to. I think this is at Arundel, so they're at home.
Yeah, I got it pulled up.
There you go.
now.
Hey, this is a big one for them.
Yeah, they play a little. I don't think the Keystone Conference is really played much outside, especially NCISAA. Liberty Christian Sandhills. That'll be the first matchup for in the Christian Independent Conference out of North Carolina. Lawrence Academy. They travel to St. David. St. David's 1-0. Lawrence Academy. Their first game of the year on the road versus a 1-0 team. So we'll see how they do. Northeast Academy and Community Christian. Obviously from your hometown, Community Christian.
Yeah.
Game is in Wilson, North Carolina.
My birth town.
Okay, yeah,
We'll
your
say
birth
birth
town.
town.
We'll put it that way.
There you go.
Community Christian 1-0, following a win last week. I believe they beat. See if I pull this up super quick. Yeah, they beat Lee Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, they beat Lee Christian, Northeast Academy. It's their first game. JP2 on the road against Wake Christian Academy. Wake Christian obviously new. They're playing all 8-man schedule.
Coming down from 11, I believe.
Yeah, coming down from 11. That'll be their first game. Both teams' first game of the year. We got Faith Christian and Pungo Christian Academy, a little cross divisional rivalry right there.
And
Faith Christian.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Faith. We saw them yesterday. Pungo, a 7-1 team that that made the playoffs in NCISAA last year. So could be a big one here.
Yeah, insightful. I didn't know that, James.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so
The more you know.
the more you know. Faith Christian, obviously, we saw them. A 7-1 team last year versus a team that looked real strong in Gatlinburg. That's going to be one to watch right there in Rocky Mount. Let's see, moving on. Here's a little bit of a Carolina matchup. Cary Christian, they're on the road to Richard Wing Academy. So a little SCISA NCISA action.
Now you know
right
what's
there,
huge. You know what's huge about this one.
I do not.
So you know Cary's the defending champ in North Carolina.
And so is Richard Wynn.
And Richard Wynn's the defending champ in SCISA.
So this is a
champ
battle for the
versus champ.
Carolinas.
Yeah.
North versus South. And hang on, let me check and see. So no Saturday games.
No
it looks
Saturday,
like in
no
North
Thursday.
Carolina.
Yeah, I think you got them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's North Carolina. There's some bangers in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Some absolute.
James, did we
bangers.
check Arkansas? I think Arkansas may start here pretty soon.
You talking about AAA or Heartland?
Yeah, AAA.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you get AAA pulled up? I'll get Heartland
Yeah.
real quick. Only 2 games happening this weekend. Arkansas Christian and Sabayaco Academy both kicking off their seasons. Arkansas at Sabayaco. And then Abundant Life, the Owls. They're at Dermott High School. They're in the AAA, and it's a good segue. Sabayaco and
Yeah,
Dermott both in AAA.
yeah, no, absolutely. So not really much showing up. I guess they don't start until the next week after, but it does look like, and this will make a, great segue. Corning plays Lee Academy out of Marianna, Arkansas. Of course, Lee Academy in the MAIS member. They're in the district with Tunica. Believe they're in there with DeSoto, and obviously they play Marvell. That's a pretty interesting district up there, James. I'm not sure if you're aware of the geography, but I believe they're all 30 minutes apart up
Interesting.
there in that section of the MAIS. So, should MAIS, I believe, opens this week, if I'm not mistaken,
I was
James.
about to say, I think it's this week.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, if you
yeah.
want to get
And I can read it.
MAIS,
Yeah,
I was about to say, if you want to get
I got those
MAIS
on deck.
lined
Hmm.
up, let me run through SIFA. Let's see if we can wrap up here in the next
Hmm.
couple minutes.
Yeah, I've
Coming
got
up on
MAIS
5.
covered.
So SIFA pretty much covered the games, talking about GIA and SKISA. PAC at Holy Spirit Prep, GSIC at Westminster Schools of Augusta, and the Augusta Eagles at Westminster Christian. Although 3 of those games this weekend. Blake, what do you got for MAIS?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So starting off in District 1, Deer Creek Academy out of Arcola, they play Calhoun on the road. And I can't remember the name of the town. In Calhoun City. Okay, that's easy. Moving down the list, we got Delta Academy. They're on the road versus I get these helmets mixed up sometimes. It's Silva Bay. They're on the road in Silva Bay. So March to Silva Bay, that's a long drive.
Yeah.
That's like driving from one end of course March is up there close to the Delta and the north part. That's like driving from East Tennessee to West Tennessee. It's no joke. Um,
Which you did this morning. Well,
yeah, what I did this morning.
not from east to west, but
Well,
Middleton
yeah,
West.
yeah. Let's see. Delta Streets Academy, they host Prairie View out of Louisiana at home. Or Sunflower Academy in Drew, Mississippi. They are going to Columbus Christian. They're going to the Golden Triangle of Mississippi. They will take on the Rams there in both teams' first game. Benton Academy, they will travel to Newton County Academy. Raiders versus Rebels in that game. Christian Covenant School, the Warriors, they will travel down to Oglala, Louisiana. Warriors out of their first year in the conference after being independent last year. Um, First year of the new alignment in MAIS. They'll be out of Ridgeland. They'll be making a long drive for that. Um, let's see, Humphreys Academy. They host the defending. I believe they're 1A. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tunica Academy.
I
I
think you're
believe
right.
Tunica was the 1A state champs. They'll be hosting them in Belzoni. Believe that's pronounced Belzoni. Um, let's see. Porter's Chapel Academy. They're on the road to Kemper Academy in DeKalb, Mississippi. Ben Ford's I already covered that. Here's an interesting one. Hillcrest Christian Cougars out of Jackson, Mississippi. They host the DeSoto School Thunderbirds
Interesting.
Out of West Helena, Arkansas. So DeSoto, obviously well known across the MAIS for their I wouldn't say they're like the Patriots, but just for their prestige as a program and their multiple state titles. Hillcrest, obviously strong program too. We saw them a couple of years ago in the national championship tournament in Florida. Newton County Academy, they host Ben already covered that. Prentice Christian, they make the long drive to Wilkinson, Mississippi, or excuse me, Woodville, Mississippi, and play Wilkinson County Christian. Moving on to District 4, Claiborne Academy, they play Riverdale. They travel down for that game. Excuse me, lost my place here. Prairie View already covered them. River Oaks School. Man, they've got a tough strength of schedule. I think I sent you the statistics,
I think
but
so. Yeah.
I think they played like 4 or 5 state champions from
Oof.
last year this year. Um, they play Briarfield Academy at home. They host them. Soto, they're already covered. Lee Academy already covered them. Marvell looks like they play. Looks like they're playing Northeast Academy. So I think I got a mix up on my end on that. I'll have to correct that later. Tunica Humphrey, Thomas Christian already covered them. Hebron Christian School. So here's a bit of an interesting one. Originally, this is supposed to be Hebron was supposed to play Victory out of Columbus, Mississippi, but for whatever reason, Victory Christian wanted to keep it light this year. They're only going to play 6, maybe 7 games. So they canceled that matchup despite only being 30 minutes apart from each other.
Mm.
Um, and Meridian Homeschool, the Flyers, they came in and said, "Hey, we'll play y'all." Hebron's at home for that game. Franklin Academy, they play Tallulah, in Tallulah, Louisiana. Heritage Christian, they play the Pinebelt Spartans, out of Hattiesburg. Census Academy, they play Union Christian. Already covered Wilkinson. They play Prentice. And I believe that is all for the MAIS.
Little Mid South Christian Football League and MAIS little crossover
Crossover,
there.
yeah. Love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of Mid South Christian Football League, Faith Explorer Warriors at Magnolia Wildcats. So Wildcats, a little bit of a skid, 0-2 here. Looking to get back on track. I think the last one we've got is Florida. We'll run through it real quick. Donahue Catholic, they're at Geneva Classical. Geneva 0-1. Donahue starting their season off. Countryside Christian at Academy at the Lakes. They're 0-1. Academy at the Lakes is. Calvary Chapel and Real Life. Real Life had their game canceled last week against Bell Creek, so both of them starting their seasons off. Lakeside Christian 0-1 at Cornerstone Academy. Eastland Christian at Liberty Christian Prep. They're 0-1. Hernando Christian at St. John Lutheran, Riverview Academy at Shorecrest Prep. Both of those games, these teams starting their season off. Merritt Island Christian at Ocala Christian. Merritt Island 1-0 on the season. Bell Creek Academy, they are at Tampa Slam, who is 1-0. All Saints Academy, they are at Classical Academy Sarasota. First Coast Christian at Legacy Charter. Oasis Christian at City of Life. Oasis starting their season off. Masters Academy at Sefner Christian. And Foundation Christian is at Four Corners Foundation 1-0 on the season. And then one game on Saturday, Seven Rivers Christian taking on Geneva Academy, I think is who it is. There's two there in Geneva. Let me run through real quick and make sure we touch base on everybody. I feel like throughout the week. Oh, hold on. I know one more scoreboard that I did not have pulled up. Let me get it real quick. I'm
While
going
you
to go
get
to.
it, I'm going to correct myself. Yeah, Northeast Baptist and Marvell, they do play each other. First game for Northeast Marvell, that's their second. They played earlier. Um, I mixed them up with Tensis for whatever reason. Who they play September the 5th, so 2 weeks from now. So that's that's my oversight. I apologize.
You're good. Baker County, 11-man game against Rock Springs Christian there in Georgia. And then CFA East, there's a game, Community Christian at Orangeburg Christian. Both teams supposedly starting off their season. I think maybe Orangeburg and Coastal got canceled with the weather. That's what I'm going to assume. So Community and Orangeburg kicking off the inaugural season of what we're calling CFA East, because CFA was already claimed. And Blake, I think that's the action. I think there's one more. I'm trying to think. Is there one more group I feel like is starting next week, or maybe they're all starting this week, which is great
Yeah.
because I mean
hmm
just ball after ball after ball. There's nothing. I have no problems with it. We're in full swing with football season. Love to see it. And
Yeah.
man, after yesterday, great day of football. Got a great weekend of football coming up, Blake. And I don't know about you, but I might be hitting an early bedtime tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's about covered all of it, James.
So, big thank you to Coach Geyer for hopping on the show. That was a lot of fun. Great conversation with him, and looking forward to seeing what DEA does this season. Got my little guy there in the background. We're looking forward to seeing what they do this season. So that'll do it for Extreme Talk presented by Cornett Performance. You can get your quote, talk to them, cornettperformance@gmail.com or at Cornett Performance on Instagram. For Blake Biggs, I'm James Shannon. And also, big shout out to Fairlife Core Power. Got to throw that in there. Blake Biggs, I'm James Shannon. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. See ya!